Do you know anyone? Do you happen to know anyone who was doing well, supposedly was doing well, and after a while, the person has a nice house, nice car, a good family, living large, is actually the envy of everyone. And after a while, something happened. That income stopped, and the person went down to ground zero. Do you know anyone? Check. Might be your family, might be your neighbor. Do you know anyone who has gone through that stage? The person was once doing well, and something happened, and the person went down to square one, back to square one. In this video, I'm going to be in this live video, I'm going to be sharing with us how to get your finances right, the need to get your finances right. My name is Monica Oge-Odiakose, and I help my clients to source for ways to increase their income. Why? Because income is very, very important. Having cash flow is very important. Why am I saying this? We've seen repeatedly where people, after working during the active years of service, they've worked so hard, and at the end, that income stopped and everything went back towards zero. After all the struggles, everything went back to zero. Something came up and they went back to zero. Yes, it happens. Eventuality happens. But when you plan, when you have a plan, yes, things can go wrong. But when you have a plan, it helps you to mitigate such issues that come along the line. When you have a plan, when you have the right target, that's why it's very, very important. So why am I saying this? Because small thinking, small actions can lead to being broke and unfulfilled. You see someone that was working in maybe working in one big company before, and all of a sudden that person was asked to go home, that person was sacked, that person was retrenched, and that person started begging for food. I don't wish anybody to go through that, because if you see how hard you work, how hard we work, the efforts we put in to get our work done, except you are not really putting in the effort, it will be so sad that you will work and work till you go to the grave, which is wrong. So the only way to mitigate that is to have the right mindset, to see that whatever I am doing, the effort I'm putting in is not going to be in vain. Should in case something happens, I can be able to bounce back. Should in case something happens, I will not go back to square one. Yes, that's why in your active years of service, you need to plan. You need to plan. You need to plan. You need to think big. You need to think big. You need to take big actions. Why? I'm not just saying this, I'm also saying this to myself, because I know what it means. I've seen a lot of things, and when I see people and see the way they live their lives, I'm like, I don't want this to be for me. And I see the ones that I admire, I'm like, this is what I love, this is what I want. And what do? I start asking people, how do I get to where you are? How do I get to where you are? I admire people, I admire rich people, I admire people that are doing well. But doing well in a sense doesn't mean that you have a big car, you have a big house, you are doing well. No, you might be that and you might be dead broke. You might have a big car, you might have a big house, but you might be living in debt. Those things are borrowed. And the day something happens, you are back to square one. That's not living large. That's not living in large. Well, there's some persons that when you look at them, they are not even, they don't even look it. But if anything should happen to the both of you, say something happen, like accidents, both people are inside the vehicle and both of them have maybe a car crash, and all of a sudden the two of them, they have issues with their legs. One person will start begging while the other person will be able to live well. Why? Because the other person has set a better target for himself. That's where targeting is what is key. So the main thing is that you have the bottom line is what? Decide on what you want, because failure to plan is planning to fail. Failure to plan is planning to fail. Sometimes I don't sleep. I think, how do I get to where I want to go to? Because once you set the right targets for yourself, even if you fall short, you will fall short to be comfortable. But if you say, oh, let me just live the way it is. If something happens tomorrow, what's going to become of you? If something happens tomorrow, what is going to become of you? That's why we don't have to settle for less. We don't have to settle for less. We should keep pushing. One source of income is not right. One source of income is not right. I don't know how much you're making. But if that income has to be dependent on you, you have to show up before that income comes in, then you have to be thinking. Guys, need to wake up. You have to be thinking, because if something should happen to that source of income, yes, you are receiving fat salary, you are receiving fat pay. If tomorrow you stop receiving that payment, that fat salary that is coming in, what is going to become of you? Will you carry your CV and start going around and looking for a job? Will you carry your CV and start going around looking for a job? That's why there's need for you to sit down and start saying, how do I move? How do I move? Should in case something happens, how do I create my own economy? How do I create my own economy? So the first step is to decide. I need to choose to think big. You need to choose to think big and add massive actions to it. And when you do that, the results will show. When you do that, the result will show. The result will show for it. So to succeed financially, you have to have what? You have to do something. You don't have to just sit down and kiss your ass around. What will be. For you to succeed financially, you have to do something. Do something. Is that you are buying something, or you're selling something, or you're starting something? You have to do something. Don't settle for just one source of income, because it's heartbreaking. I can remember there was a Christmas where I was working, and that particular Christmas, we've worked. Yes, collecting salary, we've worked. But throughout the Christmas, we were not paid. Where our mates were being paid, we were not paid. After Christmas, New Year, we were not paid. We were only paid middle of January. So just imagine, and that period I had to travel, I had to send money, I had to do other things. So just imagine that period I was just depending on my salary, meaning that I will have to borrow money to celebrate. I will have to borrow money to do the Christmas. I will have to borrow money to travel. You get? So whatever it is, you have to set a big target. See beyond your current situation and ask yourself, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, where do I want to be? Where do I want to be? Where do I want to get to? So just living the way it is, it doesn't work, because there's a lot of things. Currently, if you see what's going on, especially in Lagos now, it's crazy. You go out there, and for you to come, you spend hours on the road. You spend hours on the road, and you do that 5, 10 years, 15 years. Will you do that forever? No, you won't do that forever. That's why we have to start thinking that don't just live the life like that. Start looking for how to do it, how to get it, and get it genuinely. Get it genuinely by trying to do everything, because everything might not be working well. It might not be working well. The whole situation might not be working well. But really, things are not working well. Ask, how can it work well? How can it work well? What can I add to what I am doing? What can I add to what I am doing? What actions do I need to take so that I can move to that place that I so desire? Because to succeed financially, you have to do something. You have to decide. You have to do something. You don't have to remain put. You have to do something. You have to sell something. You have to start something. You have to do something. You have to buy something. You must do something for you to succeed. And also, to get rich, you have to focus on the M's of money. I was talking about the M's of money, 3 M's of money. What are they? Making money, that's earning money, managing your money, and multiplying it. Yes, you have making money. Earning money has to do with your source of income, maybe from a job, from a business. Yes, when you make your money, how do you manage it? How do you manage that money, and how do you put it to work so that you can multiply it? Because if you don't multiply it, the time you are using to make this money, the time will come where you are no longer actively involved. That's why you see people that are old at 70, even some of them are older than their age. They are still looking for how to survive. Why? Because there was a particular stage of their life where they took for granted. Yes, they had to rely on something, or rely on someone, or something else that made them to be like that. I have told myself I don't want to live that kind of life. So what do I need to do? What do I need to do? Connect with the right people. People that are succeeding, and people that you love the way they live their life. See how you can you can work with them. Even from afar, you can actually work with people from afar. You don't need to be in the same physical space with them. You can get their coaching. You can do what they did. Ask questions, and you will see that you are succeeding. So you have to focus on the 3 M's. The earning is so key, because if you don't earn the money, as I said, if you don't earn the money, you cannot even think of managing it or multiplying it. You can't multiply 0 or manage 0. So it's very, very important that the earning of money is very, very important. What ways are you earning? How many streams of income do you have? What ways are you earning? Are you just relying on one source of income? If something should happen to that source of income today, what will happen? So the fact that you have one source of income, try and increase it. How do I make it 2? How do I make it 3? How do I move it to 4? How do I move it to 5? how do I create more channels of income? How do I create more streams of income? You might not have the time. How do you leverage the time? How do you leverage the time? These are the questions you need to be asking yourself if you need to move forward. If you need to move forward, see what happened during the like last week. We were not able to do this. I wasn't able to come online because the whole environment was something else in the country. The whole issue with the Lekki massacre and everything, the end SARS process, everything was on the air, and it was like everybody was mourning. And if you see the lot of destruction that came on, so I was wondering, people that are destroying this property, destroying people's businesses, what's their plan? How can someone open his eyes and destroy someone's property? But there's a level of things you can control. You can only control things within your own sphere. You can't control how other people will behave. You can only do your best by what doing what you control, what you yourself can do. But there are certain things that you cannot control. So I asked myself, so a lot of persons that will go out of business because of this, as a result of this, a lot of persons will go out of business. But if they have more than one channels, if they're not relying on just that one thing, they can be able to bounce back. That is it. So relying on just one source of income, it's not right. It's not right. Look for how to increase it, how to have income coming in various ways. How to have income coming in various ways. When you do that, you are, at least to some extent, you are on the right track. You are on the right track. It might not be coming in much. But gradually, as you're building, trying to leverage, trying to learn, you are doing it. You are moving ahead. Another thing that you also know is that you have to have a goal. You have to have a goal. That's very, very important, because if your goal is just to wake up in the morning and eat that day, the next day are less of what will happen. It will continue like that. Nothing will change. You'll be so surprised. 5-10 years time, you're still where you are. You need to have a goal. You need to have a goal. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? What's your goal? What's your dream? What's your desire? Where do you see yourself in 5 years time? Where do you see yourself in 10 years time? Where do I see myself in 5 years time? Where do I see myself in 10 years time? Those things should be what will be moving you, propelling you. And if you say, okay, now this is what I want. What's the plan? How do I get there? How do I get there? So these questions are very, very important questions that we need to ask ourselves as individuals, because if we just live the way we see everything, time to come, we will even be farther than where we are. Instead of us to go forward, we are going backward, which is not right. So it's very, very important at every point of time we ask ourselves some questions that will make us move forward. So I was talking about the 6 jars of money. 6 jars of money is a principle that I was taught a few years ago. It's actually for let's say for beginners, because most times when people earn money, they just spend it. They spend it, as the money come in, they just pay all the bills and there's nothing left. And you say, okay, how do I start imbibing this culture of start saving, start having plans, start saving to invest? How do I imbibe that culture? So if you're starting from zero, I have 6 jars of money steps to what I'll go through those 6 steps to help you to be able to say, okay, I want to make a conscious effort to start saving money. I want to make a conscious effort to start planning for my finances. I want to make a conscious effort. So that's the 6 jars of money.